Well, welcome, Johnny.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. So, daytime clubbing.
Yes.
Why has it become such a big phenomenon?
I don't know really. I had an idea that it might work because I'd sort of got to an age where I preferred going out in the day, and my mates did as well. So we went to Liverpool, funnily enough, for a weekend there, and we went out in the afternoon, and a lot of the pubs were very busy, sort of with acts on, people playing guitar and stuff, and we really enjoyed it. And there were people of a certain age there, sort of my age range, I suppose. And I just thought there's something in this possibly of going out a bit earlier in the day, but still having a good time. And I sort of mooted the idea for a long time to people going on about it. Like, I'm sure there's something about daytime, sort of going to a nightclub. Like the nightclubs we grew up and knew, And I persuaded some friends to put on an event in Sheffield City Hall, and it sold out straight away. So we were a bit like, is that a fluke? Is it because it was just before Christmas? So we tried some other cities as well, our hometowns, Merthyr Tydfil, Nottingham, tried one in London, and they all sold out as well. So then we thought maybe there's something in this and doing it, once a month for people. And so we put them on once a month, and they've been pretty much selling out ever since, right across the country.
Wow. So where did it all start for you if it wasn't with daytime clubbing?
In the media, so basically I was in a band in the early 90s. I was dreamt of being a rock star. And we did okay actually in South Wales, that area where I'm from. We supported some big bands like In Excess or the Stereophonics, who went on to be massive. And we got like a record deal with Sanctuary Warner Chapel, but we never charted. We never got in the top 40. But we were, sort of reasonably successful playing around the country. And then strangely enough, a part came up in a Welsh drama series. This is in the sort of 90s. And the character in it was in a band. And he was kind of my age. And the casting director at ITV Wales, a guy called Anthony Smith, had seen me in the band on television once or twice on Welsh television, and he said to me, have you ever thought about acting? And I was like, no, not really. So he said, well, why don't you come in and have some screen tests, because there's a part I think you might be good at. So I went in, did some screen tests, and long story short, they cast me in it. So that was me like in the acting world then, because it was on telly sort of 9 months of the year. So I got quite well known in Wales then, on Welsh television, and then you get an agent, and then you get other parts. And then once I was in sort of the acting world, I ended up doing all sorts, really producing, directing, researching, all sorts. I was kind of in the room then. I was part of the industry. And once you're in, you kind of got, opportunities, and you meet people, and you sort of take it from there.
Amazing. So you've always spent your career in entertainment, and then obviously nightlife and events from there.
I think so. I think it's all connected. I think that's a great word, actually, entertainment. It's like that's broadly sort of captures the whole industry. If you're in a band, you kind of have an idea of how to sort of be, I suppose, on stage, and that informs you for acting, and that informs you for other things as well. And you have an idea of what people like, what people enjoy, And I've always loved music, so obviously music's a big part of stuff like Day Fever. I've loved films, so I ended up making documentary films and sort of doing soundtracks for that. So it all kind of becomes the same thing, really. I mean, I think in the past it was very sort of divided up, really, until sort of the last 20, 30 years. You were either an actor, weren't you, or you were a pop star, you were a presenter. You kind of stayed in your box. But I think it's really empowering now that young people can be pretty much anything they want to be, can't they? They can be all things across the spectrum, and I think that's a good thing, really.
Yeah, and there's like a powerful like freelancer kind of being your own entrepreneur, and it means you can kind of go across lots of different career paths or industries or businesses and dip and dive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think what it does, it empowers you, in the sense of like you have a sense of freedom. It's scary sometimes. My late father was literally worked as a Welsh miner and a steel worker, so he was a different generation to me, and I loved him. He passed away a few years ago, but I got on great with him. But he was constantly going, you haven't got a job, what are you going to do? Because he'd grow up in an environment where you went to work every day and you sometimes had a job for life. So me saying to him, I've got a job for 3 months. He'd be like, what are you going to do after 3 months? And I'd be like, I don't know, I'll see what happens. And he'd be like, oh. So it's like, in a weird way, that kind of thrills you. And it kind of keeps you on your toes, really, because you're constantly having to adapt, you're constantly having to sort of hustle. I'm still hustling now, even now I'm still going out there trying to get things away with our production company, things away with Day Fever, possibly taking it abroad. So it never stops, that hustling side. I think that's something that is unique to our industry that I kind of really enjoy, and I like the people that have a bit of that about them as well. It keeps you on your toes, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, I often describe myself, people are like, what are you good at? I'm like, I'm a hustler.
Exactly,
And I remember how old was I? 3 years old, and my mum always quotes this. She says, I got your school report back, and it just said, like, Sarah has very good negotiation skills. So at 3 years old, she was seeing this, like, hustler thing. But a lot of our industry has that kind of relatable like people that can relate to other people, that sparkiness. How would you define being a hustler for you?
I think it's being a good salesman. I think it's, there's that great saying, life's a pitch, and you constantly have to sell yourself, sell what it is you're trying to do. So you've got to be able to communicate it. You've got to be able to be passionate about it. Obviously, sometimes you have to financially qualify it. So you have to be all things to everybody, really. I think you have to go in with a real plan, and it's no easy thing. People are often skeptical, and there's lots of other people trying to get the job or get that commission that you're trying to get. But, you've got to go in and you've got to sort of put your heart and soul into it. And you've got to be able to say, well, this is me, this is what I believe in, this is what I think it could become. And like I said, often you have to sort of say, well, I think this could be financially successful this way. So there's lots of different aspects to it, really, and I think you get better over time. When you learn to sort of how to be with people and what connects with people and what works and how you can sort of persuade people to buy into your idea. So I think, you get to an age where you go, I can kind of know instantly now, say straight away if somebody's not interested, you just sit there and you go and they go, oh yeah, and you think, well, they're not going for this, and that's all right. And you learn from that, and you can kind of think, well, what did I say and what did I not get across that I wanted to get across? So yeah, I really enjoy it, actually. I think one of the things that if you stay in the game a long time, as we were just talking about, it's about being sort of understanding it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's like if it doesn't come to you straight away, that's okay. You can learn lots and you can get to a certain stage. And in some ways, I'm almost glad now I talk about this that I didn't make it big in the band in my 20s. I think I'd have been a different person than I am now, and I probably wouldn't have had the career I've had now, because sometimes those lads and girls who were in bands, they came and went, and you kind of wash out in your mid-30s perhaps thinking, God, what do I do now? Whereas I had a kind of more of a sort of a gentle upward trajectory to where I am now, and it's kind of like, man of my age now, a bit older. I'm kind of glad I had that. I think I'm a better person for not having quick success straight away,
I totally agree, and I think when things are given to you too quickly, you haven't had to go through a process. And it is all the process, isn't it? You said it's a marathon, not a sprint. So how long have you been in the industry for now?
Well, I had this thing that happened to me. I went to school in Merthyr Tydfil, and then I got some A levels in like computer studies. Again, my late father was funny. He was like, computers are the future, be a computer boy. I was like, okay. And I got a job in the local offices in the Hoover factory, and I was in the offices there. And I just weirdly thought, well, I was very happy. I had a very happy childhood. Grew up in a town called Merthyr Tydfil, as I said, and loved it. Big extended family, lots of friends, and I liked it. And I didn't see myself going anywhere else. But I was in the band, so I obviously must have had something in my head that was going, I want to try other things. And the band was starting to become a little bit more successful, playing gigs across the UK, like I say, and picking up supports, getting on local television. So there was something happening there. And then I was terrified though to make the jump, because I would come from that generation, as I explained with my father, was like a job's everything. A job for life, super important. Your job is like, it's very old fashioned. As a man's son is going to be to earn, provide for your family, all those kind of things. I grew up with that attitude. So I was like, okay, I've got the job. I'm in Hoover's and I'm okay. And I was nervous to make the jump to become like a full-time professional musician, because you get used to having a wage every week. And Hoover made me redundant. They did me a massive favour, really. So I can remember being called in, I was like 21, 22, and they were like, oh, sorry, shutting this department down, and use a little bit of redundancy money, and, good luck and all the rest of it. And that gave me the idea then to go, look, okay, I've got a little bit of money. I'm going to go full-time in the band. And that set me on my way. So I got to thank Hoover, actually, for that. And then, obviously, like I said, when I was in the band, I managed to get the part in the acting job. And since then, touch wood, I've kind of worked permanently in the industry. So it gave me that little bit of a tip, really. Sometimes there are signs in life, there's little forks in the road, and something happens that sends you one way or the other, and that sent me that way. And actually, no, I'm really glad they did.
That's amazing. And so Day Fever is your brand now. Yeah. And how long has that been going for?
So we started that Christmas 2023. So it's not been long, and considering it's become so well known.
Wow.
So I'd had the idea that summer, like I said, when I'd been to Liverpool, and then we decided to put it on. But it expanded so quickly. We knew we were onto something because of the amount of press attention it was getting. And we wanted to set up something that we all recognise, because I grew up like going to youth club discos, and then you progress and you took what we used to call clubbing. Do you remember? You go to nightclubs and all that kind of stuff. Yes, and I love nightclubs. Looking back, they were great places because they were kind of almost otherworldly, weren't they? Like disco balls and palm trees and lots of glass and stuff. So I always thought every town had one, which was brilliant. And they were a great place to go and kind of aspire to. Do you remember? You'd go to a nightclub, you'd have a night out and dance and possibly meet somebody. This is all before internet dating. But we all behaved in a certain way, and it was a real world that we knew. And I sort of said, look, if we can recreate that, so that people know it and go, I know what this is, I know what the music is, I know, you know, how you act, how you behave, and I've got a screen behind that shows loads of like some nostalgic adverts and clips of TV shows, so people kind of see it. And I just thought it might be something in that. And we are sort of 75% female. Lots of women go and they love it. They feel really empowered, and I love that. And they feel seen again and they enjoy it. And we got a bit where they dance on the stage so they can dance. So the most rewarding thing has been that the people who say to me, I've had the best time. I haven't done that for years. And they come back and do it every month, because you just get out, you meet people. And I think it's big with, you know, mental health and all that, you know, all those kind of things where you can get out and just socialise a bit.
Yeah, and so the average age group for these parties, what is it?
I'd say we started by being over 30, but we had lots of, especially, you know, girls saying, look, I want to go with my mother, I want to go with my auntie, so we got rid of that. But I would say the average age there is from about 35 to 45, but it goes up to, we've had people in there who've had 80th birthdays and things like that. But all sorts, I know. So we've had that, we've had marriage proposals, we've had obviously lots of like groups, you know, office parties and things like that, hen nights. But mostly it's people who want to go out and go clubbing. And I would say the sweet spot of the age is around about 40.
Epic, that's so good.
Yeah.
And I was reading some stats on daytime clubbing in general, and some sources suggest that it's gone up by like 800%.
Yes.
Absolutely skyrocketed across the UK, but Europe and the USA as well. Why do you think it's become this new trend, and is it even a new trend?
I don't think it definitely happened in the past. You had like stuff like Northern Soul all dayers and things like that, you know, so it's definitely not something that's completely come out of the blue. I think what we did in Day Fever in the UK is that we definitely were the first to create what we would have called, you know, traditional nightclub. Not a rave, not specific music, not like sort of like heavy dance music. Like you could hear all the hits, you know, you could hear all the cheesy hits, but all the great hits as well, you know. So that's what we tried to do and decided to do. I think there's a few reasons for it. One is that you get tired as you get older in the nights. It's just not the same. So that's one of them. That's certainly my case. I just like going out in the day because I like getting back about 8, 9 o'clock, having a bit of food and going to bed a bit earlier. When I was younger, you know, you got the energy to stay out till the early hours. The other one is safety. I think especially for women, I think my mate said once, nothing really gets better the later it gets. Transport gets more difficult, you know, things can get a little bit darker. I think for women especially, if you're done by 7, 8 o'clock, if you feel kind of safe in a town centre, you can get home. So I think safety was a big part of it. So I think there was a few things that sort of came together in kind of a perfect storm, really. And one of the things I love about it that has been brilliant is they love us, the venues, because the bar takings are fantastic. So, you know, the modern generation is not quite the same as we behaved. Well, they're going out and they're having a good time. Nobody's going out and just, lots of people are going out and having the best time. They're having a few drinks, they're having a dance, and they're going home. So the venues love us as well, because it's got all the same characteristics as what would have happened in a nightclub 20, 30 years ago. You know, the same bar take and the same sort of interaction. So it's the same generation, I think, you know, going out just a bit earlier in the day, really.
Yeah, so the bar taking, so there is still money in the trade.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I mean, that's why they love us so much, because if you think that would be sort of what they call dead stock, it's just sitting there in the afternoon, like the venue, and suddenly the venue's full in the afternoon. So the venues obviously love us. They're always asking us, can we do more? Can you put on more events? Can you put them on towns and cities? I think we're in 28 towns and cities now, so it's a lot. Wow. People from abroad are sort of saying to us, because they can see it's a way for them to make some money, which, you know, everybody has to do in the world, I suppose. So that's a big part of it as well. And lots of clubs are sort of like opening back up again 8, 9 o'clock for the younger crowd and the students. So they have a sort of like double bubble, as they say. So yeah, so I think that works for everybody, because I feel really passionately about pubs, nightclubs. I think it's a big part of our history, our social culture. I love them. I love going to the pub even now, and I like going out. Now I do it early in the day. I love meeting people. I think it's important we keep it. I think it's a really important part of our social history, as I said. And it depresses me when a pub shuts, because I think when I was a kid growing up, my dad went to the local pub and my mother went down there as well, and I went there, was a bit older, and it wasn't just about going there and drinking. It was about meeting people, and, you know, everybody knew that somebody you could talk to, you know, you could sort of let off some steam at the end of the day. And pubs are an important part of every community, and I think clubbing was a bit like that. You could meet your mates, go and have a dance, go and have a drink, and you just feel great the next day, because you think, you know what, I've done something this weekend and I've really enjoyed myself. So I feel passionately we should try and keep as many open as we possibly can.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen a demise, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, yeah.
It's how have you seen that show up, and why? Why do you think that's happening?
Well, there's those really sort of depressing statistics here, isn't there? Like so many pubs shutting every week and all that. But it makes me really sad because, I mean, I think there's change in habits. They talk about the younger generation, and they don't drink as much and all that kind of things, which is, health reasons. I get it. Nobody wants to be, an alcoholic, and there are always extreme cases. But the vast majority of the society, for years, for centuries, went to the local pub, had a few beers, enjoyed themselves, met people, sometimes met their partner, had a nice time. So once you take that away, that way of us interacting, then I think that's a shame, because a pub is a public house. That's why it's called a pub. So it's like a house that all the public could use. So that's why we've really tried to support that. And some of the other lads who were partners of mine in Day Fever, they've got a few pubs in Sheffield, and they're big in the local community and trying to encourage people to go and to use them and whatnot. So I'm pleased that we're at least highlighting the fact that, look, people still want to go out and there's still an opportunity there. I think as well, the hospitality market gets killed for taxes, don't they? We always see stuff in the news, people just get hammered, and you see these poor people saying, give us a break, beer's taxed like you wouldn't believe. There's a top to that where people will stop going out or stop, and that's a shame because you lose that, and you lose an important part of the way we function as a society, and I think it's important that we remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think it's true that Gen Z are actually drinking less?
Yeah, there's reports about it. I read one the other day, made me laugh. Apparently they're starting to drink again. I was a bit like, oh, okay, well that's encouraging. I just think that, are they different to us? When I was young, when I was 18, I went to the local pub. That's what we did. My dad went there, my mates went there, and it was very much a social meeting place. The people play a bit of pool, and we go into town together and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of what we did, our generation. I don't know if Gen Z does that so much because a lot of the pubs are shutting down, and I don't know what it is. It'd be, like I say, it'd be a shame to lose it because I really enjoyed it. And we all sort of met people, and some of our best times and best friends were going out, whether it be clubbing or to pubs or it's festivals now, which I think, that's another brilliant thing that we do in this country really well. And so I'm hoping that the Gen Z sort of starts going to pubs a little bit more. Maybe they'll find them and sort of discover what we discovered. Actually, you can have a really good time and meet great people.
Yeah, I definitely think there was that COVID kind of lull.
Yes.
But I think for us last year in our business, we saw Freshers really picked back up for the first time since COVID.
Yeah.
And festivals are massive.
Yeah, they are.
I just wonder if Gen Z are a bit more experience-led, so they want something more like a wow factor, that Instagram moment, that amazing DJ.
Yeah.
And so that's maybe why festivals and these events are doing quite well, because it's different. There's a variety, but that day-to-day pub drinking culture, they're just like, oh, what's special about it?
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. They want that sort of little bit of magic dust in there, I suppose. I think the phones is a big thing. Well, it is a big thing, and social media. We just didn't have that. So we had to sort of I know it sounds sort of so old-fashioned. It's like, we made our own fun, but we kind of did, didn't we? We had to, So we would meet in a pub, and it would be now they call bants, don't they? But the chat and everybody getting on and that side of things. You do see people much more on phones now. That is a fact in a pub. Just looking at a phone or whatever. So there's a difference in that. And when you're looking at a phone, I suppose what you're doing is you're trying to look to engage with the phone and capture something to send via the phone. We didn't have that pressure. It was just living in the moment. I seen a very funny comedian the other day who said, I didn't realise we were all Buddhist monks when we were kids because we all lived in the moment. You went on a bus journey, you just sat there, didn't you? I was there, you went on a bus journey. Whereas
now we have to keep reminding ourselves to live in the moment.
Yes, exactly.
Live in the moment. I was like, I never used to think like that. I just did.
Yeah.
I was.
You'd watch raindrops coming down the bus window. That was it. Like, I'm living in the moment here. And he's right. So now you go like, oh, I got the headphones, I got my phone, and I got that. Whereas, when I was a kid, if you went on a long bus journey, for on holidays or train, you just went. If you were really lucky, your mother and father might pack some colouring books. But even then, it was like that was 10-15 minutes, and you were done.
Yeah.
So there is something different in the way we behave with phones. There's no doubt about that. And what that looked like in 10-20 years, I don't know. I mean, I part of me thinks, are we going to come out and is a generation going to go, that's not for us anymore? That could happen because we're so invested with them at the moment. And I'm one of the best examples. I fought a mobile phone like you wouldn't believe. I was 2001 before I went, and I was one of those blokes. I'm not. And once I fell hard. And I'm attached to the thing now. So I can't talk about that. But I do wonder if if that'll carry on over the next decades. Is there a moment where we'll have to punch through and not be so addicted and not be on social media? You know, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, like where is the future of
Yeah.
it? I have a great friend in Ibiza, and she is very passionate about taking her child almost like off-grid in certain ways.
Yeah.
So her daughter's 13, and she's just negotiated another year of her not having access to social media by allowing her to get her nose pierced. So at 13, she hasn't got TikTok, Instagram, never had it, never seen it.
Yeah.
She's allowed on WhatsApp to like contact her friends like for a certain amount of time per day. And I mean, I'm really interested to see how she is as a woman as she grows up. Does that impact? Does it change?
Yeah.
Because how much are we impacted by social media and what goes on with that as well? And I mean, for you in what you do, you must still use social media to sell and, you know, market and get the tickets out there, right? It has a massive upside.
It's incredibly impactful for us, and pretty much everything's done through our social media.
Yeah.
You know, when we started, we obviously put it on Facebook, Instagram, and, you know, X, it was called now, and that was our main method of communication. You know, my wife Vicky, she has a massive following on social media, and so she would put something out, and that would get loads of interaction and loads of, you know, sort of, you know, traction. Some of the other boys were involved. John is obviously the lead singer of Reverend and the Makers. He's got a big social media following. I've got a reasonable size one as well. So we used that for our advantage. I do wonder, like, what that would have been like 20 years ago. We'd have had to done, you know, the old-fashioned route of putting posters up and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? And would it have spread so quickly? Probably not, because one of the things that happened with Davey was it went countrywide within a few weeks, really. We did Sheffield. It sold out, so we got a bit of press around that. We put London, Nottingham and Merthyr Tydfil up for sale, so the Welsh press, Nottingham press and London press all went, what's this? And then before you know it, the national press. By the March, we had literally like the Observer turning up, you know, with BBC cameras there. So it went like that, really. And that was because of social media. That wouldn't have happened 20 years ago. So ironically, that's one of the advantages of social media. An old-fashioned concept of going out clubbing in the daytime was helped by social media.
Wow, amazing. And so, yeah, I think we have to be careful, don't we, in this industry, kind of going like, get disconnected, get present, but then we're also using it to sell and market. And if you're not online now as a venue or a brand, or even as a personal brand in the industry, people are paying so much more attention to that when they're buying and getting attached to brands, I find.
I've seen a brilliant thing, this is about 7-8 years ago, which was a good lesson for me, and we were still, I was doing some stuff in Nottingham Forest, I was on the board there, still am, and we were doing local radio ads for season tickets and something else, and I just remember somebody reading, like a top sort of marketing guy going, just forget it. Just social media it. Just put your ads on Facebook and do that way. He said, anybody else doing anything else, it's just like, you know, you're like sort of a steam train trying to chase after a sort of a space rocket. And they were right. We went, okay, let's put some spend into these, and everything sold straight away. And so we were like, there's a bit of a lesson here, really. It's like more people are engaged via social media now than anything else. And to try and convince yourself anything different is fine, but you're kidding yourself, really. This is the quickest way still to engage with an audience. And WhatsApp, you just mentioned WhatsApp. WhatsApp has been massive for us because people are on groups a lot. We noticed people would buy tickets in groups of like, we had to get rid of that 6 only, plus we had to let it go because people were coming in groups of 10, 20. And they'd always message us saying, I put it in my WhatsApp group, and, you know, can anybody under 30 come? We were like, yeah. And then somebody else would go, our WhatsApp group was wondering, can we get there a bit late? And I was like, okay, so the WhatsApp thing is massive. A lot of people have seen it, then gone on their group and going, there's this thing called Day Fever, do we go? And then that was sort of like a way of getting our tickets out there. So it was all part of it, really. And
so where do you see Day Fever going?
Well, I mean, we've certainly are looking at talking to people about taking it to other parts of the world now. We've had some sort of inquiries in sort of places, certainly with the nightclubbing culture, like Australia, and sort of people mentioned the States. So that's a possibility for us to do that. It's just obviously, you know, we'd have to sort of extend the infrastructure outside the UK, Europe as well. People sort of mention stuff like doing it in places like Ibiza and Spain and things like that. So that's certainly something we're going to be discussing. What's happened this year is we've noticed that we've done really well in festivals. We put a tent in a few festivals. We went to Glastonbury, went to Splendour in Nottingham. We've done the Rock and Roll Circus in Sheffield. We've done one in Merthyr, where I'm from, and they all sold out straight away, and they all were packed. So there's definitely something in the summer, possibly next year, and taking it to lots more festivals and just having a Day Fever tent, somewhere people can dip in and out of. They know they're going to listen to some great music, and if it's sunny, they can go and have a hide from the sun. If it's raining, get out of the rain. So I think that's going to work for us next summer.
Epic. So you're going to continue with this brand. You've got some.
Yeah, I mean, we've got loads of dates into the autumn. The autumn really blasts for us. It mirrors the school year, Sarah, weirdly, because obviously it's 80%, 75% age of women. It mirrors the school year, so people are at festivals in the summer, you know, with their kids, and then especially going into September, and January is always a massive month. I think it's because of Christmas. People do Christmas. They want something to look forward to. But January is like one of our biggest months. Wow. Everything goes straight away, which is the opposite of lots of other businesses.
100%.
Because everybody's like we have the opposite. I think what happens is everybody's like, oh God, Christmas is done. Kids are back in school. Give me something to do in January, so they come out to Day Fever. So there's patterns emerging for us now, which we can follow. When we started, we were flying blind really at the beginning. We were a bit like, what is this? You know, will they want it once a month? Will they want it once a 3 months? We didn't know, but it kind of washed out at once a month in the big cities. Once every 3 months in the smaller-ish towns and cities, and in the summer, it's certainly more festivals.
And where do you see, if your demographic is like this 40-year-old, 30-year-old, let's fast forward like 20, 30 years, if you wanted the brand to last that long, is it going to have legs? Well,
I've thought about this. We all have. I think what we'd have to do is, we'd have to sort of change, as people stop going and getting older, I was going to say died out, but you know what I mean? It's like, if you got to the point where it got younger, you just have to incorporate. The vast majority of our music is late 20th century greatest pop, so like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, noughties, some naughty stuff. If we started playing stuff from the 1910s and the 1920s, as it is now, well, 2020s, sorry, then we'd have to sort of, that would mean we'd be creeping back 10 years with each audience, if you get what I mean. So like, as people are going to get older, and people are going to have kids, and then they're not going to want to go out in the nights, as they get into 20s, 30s, maybe that when we start getting that crowd, and you know, we stop playing 60s music and start playing music in the 2010s.
So you're going to get smart with
music. So move in the sort of window like that with people.
Yeah, got to get smart with the music.
Yes,
for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so people and alcohol, there are always some crazy stories to tell.
Yeah.
What's one of the craziest things that you've seen at your events or you know has taken place?
So it was, one of my favourite ones was in Manchester, and this girl turned up and she had like a onesie on and some Uggs, and she went, I've come to pick my mother up. And we were like, okay. And she went, you will not believe it, she said she's passed out drunk in the toilet upstairs. So we were like, okay. So obviously we had to take her up the stairs, and she went to the toilet. My mother sort of came out, sort of bless her, sort of carried her. And she, as she was going out, she sort of turned to us, she went, I'm so sorry for this. And we were like, it's okay. And she went, will she be banned now? And one of the boys went, banned? She's coming in free next time, bless her. If she can enjoy herself that much, she gets a free pass. And this girl went, oh, thank you so much, lads. So that was a true story. Like, so sometimes brilliant. People are sort of get a bit excited, have a bit too much to drink, and they maybe overdo it. But the brilliant thing about it, Sarah, is we've had no trouble, no hassle. I think there's two things for that. Obviously, because it's female-led, but also everybody's a little bit older, so there's nobody sort of like, you know, when you're young, you're full of hormones and all the rest of it. There's so much, especially with lads, testosterone. Yeah. You don't get that. You just get a real party atmosphere. So we've been really lucky, and that's why the venues like us, you know, they spend a penny because they go up to the bar, they drink all sorts, but they're brilliantly well behaved. You know, everybody's there to have a good time. So really, we've got the best of both worlds in that sense, really. Yeah. So yeah, we've seen a few people sort of like staggering out at the end, but you know, they've always had a good time. And you know, they seem to be always back the next month. So you know, I
mean, total role reversal there. Yeah. If I was picking my mum up from a cab, I don't know what would have happened.
I know.
Like, yeah,
she was funny, that girl. Around. She was a bit like, oh, I can't believe she's done this. She says it's the first time she's done it in years. But I was a bit like, well, that's the whole point of Day Fever, isn't it? So they can get out and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah. And so you've spoken a little bit about women's empowerment and women feeling empowered at your events. Is that feedback that you've had from like women themselves?
Yeah, I think one of the loveliest things that we get is that they just feel seen again. They feel relevant and seem, you know, I'm from a male perspective, but you know, I understand that people say that, you know, as you get older, you know, you value yourself less because society's so obsessed with youth, isn't it, and beauty and looking this way, and that there's so much pressure, I think, on women especially. You know, it's just, you know, you feel it as a man, badly enough, but women, I do think it's worse. You know, see it in sort of the entertainment industries and things like that. This obsession with sort of you know, youth. That, you know, when you get to a certain age, it's like, well, who am I and where am I seen anymore? And so if you come to a Day Fever, so many people have said, I remember what it was like to sort of be young again, you know, to be seen, to dance on stage, to have some fun, to laugh. That's been the most lovely thing, I think, that we've had from Day Fever, people have said to us. And I think, we've had some people who've, well, even one of the first few ones, I remember there was a couple who met at Day Fever, they were still seeing each other now, who said, and the guy was like, well, I just went on to somebody and asked them to dance, He said, I didn't know how to do the whole online thing. He said, I'd split up with my wife a few years back, I was single, and suddenly I walked up and said, would you like to dance? And she went, okay. And they ended up together, so that was nice hearing that those sort of like, those interactions, very human interactions can happen again in Day Fever. We've had loads of that, people who've met at our Day Fevers. Like I said, we've had marriage proposals there and all sorts. So it's a kind of place that you can go if you want to meet somebody, but also it's a place more so you can go and just have a laugh and let your hair down, and like I said, be felt like you're seen again,
Yeah.
I think the dancing on the stage, it was a great idea. That was John, one of my partners there on TV, and he went, I want to do that Top of the Pops thing. And we had so many arguments with the venues at first with health and safety. Oh, you can't get these people. We were like, no, we want to create like a stage that's safe, that they can get up, 2 or 3 songs, have a dance, and get off again. Oh, okay, and they set it up, and they put like a railing up, a safety. But you know what? It's been one of the most popular things we've done. People love it. They queue for hours just to go on, have a dance. Their mates take some photos, film some stuff, and then off they go. Although, saying that, one of the big things we've noticed, pattern behaviour, very little phone interaction. Once they're there, for some reason, I think it's the music and the feeling of where they are, you don't see a lot of people on their phones.
Oh, wow.
No, it was a big thing for us. We thought that the DJs, there's not a lot, because we even said at one point, send us your photographs and send us your videos. And not a lot came. And we were like, oh, okay, they're not taking some photographs and enjoying the day, but not spending hours like at gigs of doing that, That's just not a thing at Day Fever, so that's been really interesting.
And I guess maybe it is reflective of the age as well.
Yeah.
Like where, when I think about going out when I was, 18, 19, you had to take a camera with you
Yeah.
if you were going to get a photo or take it. I'd always lose my camera. I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like 5 cameras on
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the only way you get a photo. Other than that, you were present, you
Yeah.
were dancing, doing what you should be doing on a night out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think in that one of the wonderful surprises that you get as you get older, and the internet does this, where every so often somebody will have a photograph of you, and you go, oh, I didn't know somebody had a camera there.
Yeah.
And it's so rare. You go, oh, there I am. And it's like, because people have, I was talking to this to my mate the other day, people have learned to pose now, because we do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it. You'll just go, and I know if I look at this way and I smile like this, it'll be fine. But so many photographs in the past, they got you from the side, or you're talking, or you're trying to turn, or somebody's got their eyes quite shut because it's in the moment. They're just taking photos, and you see them, and it's like a real thing where you go, God, people are not used to cameras. They're not used to being photographed all the time, so they're just being themselves. So you don't get the modern thing of everybody that, you get the thing of, just all to the side and things. And there's a few of them pop up, and I go, oh, I didn't know somebody had a camera there. But I'm so glad they did.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have taken one up at the time. Wouldn't have crossed my mind to have gone. In fact, I used to do that thing, and people are being slightly annoyed with photos. Oh, come on, because you wouldn't see it, would you? Sometimes for a few weeks, or maybe never. So the photograph was always a bit of a pain, wasn't it? When somebody, come on, you needed the one person to give it the, come on, let's get all together. I'm glad they did now. But I wasn't one of them. I was a bit like you. If I did take one out, I'd lose it anyway. So
yeah. Oh, I'm the same. And come back to the women's empowerment thing, because I think it's a powerful space that when you hit that certain age as a woman, you now actually have somewhere where it's not, you're not feeling like you're the oldest in the room.
No.
Or, I know I always joke around, I'm 36, but when I go to these nights where it's like 18, 19-year-olds, I might be checking in on the staff, whatever it is that I'm doing for business.
Yeah.
And I feel like the granny tonight. You do have that experience.
Yes.
And so, do you think that's part of why the spend is so high at your events? That the people that are going have maybe more disposable income, they're maybe feeling safer, they're feeling better. Has anyone connected those dots?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think so. I think when they go, because it's become so well known so quickly, and because you see what it is, I would imagine on social media, or your friends will tell you, they kind of know what to expect. And it comes back to what I was saying previously, because we wanted to create this world that people recognise straight away. That sort of, we kind of went through like almost like a rites of passage. Then you went to your local disco when you were a kid, the school disco. Then you went to maybe a local nightclub, youth club. Lads always found it, especially I looked about 12 when I was 18. I used to have those year passports to say to the bouncers, I'm 18. I couldn't get in. Girls are slightly different. They were going out at 15, 16, makeup and all that. But you had this rite of passage. So I think, and then you knew the world. You'd go in there and sort of like the music would be playing. What it would be. What my era would be like, sort of Stock Aitken and Waterman and sort of all that kind of stuff. And then you had the boy bands and all the rest of it. And they'd sometimes play a little bit of indie if you were lucky, and they'd dance to sort of the Jam. So like it was like I thought to myself, if we can create that, we have little moments where people go, like some 90s dance songs, people love it, or you play the Spice Girls, people always go mad. So like if you create that, it's almost like a muscle memory. I know where I am. I recognise this place. I've been here and I know what this is. And I think you see that a lot, And the big thing they always say to the boys, John, Jim, Chris, me, Vicky, if she's there, they always go, thank you. They always say thank you. Thanks for creating this, where you can just be yourself. It's such a great thing to be yourself. It's so empowering, isn't it? We can just go, I can just act how I want to with my mates.
Yeah.
And dance to like George Michael.
It's like how many environments can't you do that in?
Yeah, you can't.
Or you feel you've got to be a certain way, say a certain thing, think about the way you need to communicate or present yourself.
Yeah.
I think our industry is big for that, allowing people that sense of freedom.
Yes, absolutely. And it's something that people return to when they come back, and that's one of the most rewarding things of all, really, is the fact that people keep coming back. They go, I got this in my life once a month now, something to really look forward to. It doesn't overdo it. It's not you can't do it every week, Once a month you can go out. You go home by 8, 9 o'clock. Next 3 weeks you're all excited, and you're back again then the following month. And I think it gives people something to look forward to.
So it's a community now.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is, because our social media and things, people have definitely sort of, we have regular people who post now and things like that, and people who turn up all kind of sort of know other people are going to go. As like I said, there's the WhatsApp group thing is a powerful thing. So yeah, definitely a sense of community and getting along somewhere and knowing that you're going to be entertained, that it's going to be good. We one of the absolute, probably the most important thing was ticket prices for us. We were determined just to make it £10. And in London, it's only £15 because the venue said to us, I always remember this, you can't charge a tenner in London. They just won't trust it. They need it. So we were like, okay. So we made it £10, and it's been £10 now for nearly 2 years. And the point of that was us saying, look, everybody feels that they're getting ripped off at the moment, with inflation and sort of like this peak prices on food and everything seems to be going up. I was like, let's give people one thing. Well, it's just a tenner. You can go along, it's £10. Go for the ticket, and then if you want to have a few beers and spend on the day and have a Prosecco breakfast or whatever, that's fine. But your ticket isn't 50, 60 quid. It's not that festival thing of like £150 or, a diamond, experience going to see somebody in the O2 that costs you £150. No, we didn't want to do that. It's £10, go along and you're in, and that's it. And I think that's been the strongest feedback of everything we've had, that people felt, well, nobody's trying to rip us off here. They've created something that they want people just to be able to go, that's not coming out of my pocket, and sort of, I'm not under worry about having to pay for this, and it's going to make a big hole in my pocket. It's going to be something that's reasonable.
What do you see as some of like the downsides of community and having that community?
The downsides? I don't know, really. I mean, I don't know. What do you think is any downsides?
I don't know. I think maybe when it comes to like business competition.
Oh yeah, so I think the one thing is we have lots of copycats, right?
Yes.
Loads. But I've always been really flattered by it. At first I used to have mates going, oh, look at this. But I was a bit like, you know what? If something's a good idea, flattery is the highest form of whatever, and so copying is the highest form of flattery. I was always expecting that a little bit. Listen, there's whole sort of companies set up now that sort of, who've sort of chased us around the country, and I understand that. But, if somebody really enjoys going along to that as well and wants to go twice a month, then let them go. Some people want to go every week, and there's maybe one every week in the city. But, I do think that we're the original, and there's a lot to be said for that. So, and people know us. I think Vicky, my wife, being a part of it was a big part of it because people trust her. She's sort of the stuff she's done in music and all that kind of space. And so she's like, and she was very keen on making it really safe for women and all those kind of things. So I think, that side of it wasn't something that particularly concerned me, and doesn't even now really. I think, if worst case scenario, say it all collapsed next month, right, and somebody else come along, we've had a great run. We've had an amazing 2 years. We've sold out loads of, so, it's already been fantastic. But at the moment, it seems to be that people still want to come.
Yeah, and that's so interesting. It's almost like, is there such thing as competition?
Yeah, exactly. I don't feel it. I'm a bit like, you know what? they really do it on the same days as us, and even if they do, it's fine. We pretty much always sell out. They do really well, and if I ever bumped into anybody, I'd say, because there's been daytime events forever. We didn't invent the genre of sort of going out in the day. I had the idea because I said I went to Liverpool and Manchester and I went out in the daytime and seeing people out. So I had the idea from somewhere. So everything's sort of like just a slight
variation.
Yeah. I was absolutely. So I'm a bit like I was always all right with that. And I was never really worried about it. And there's a thing called Bingo Bongo or something it's called.
Yes.
Yeah, which is massive.
We work with them.
Yeah, they're fantastic. And there's lots of sort of variations of that. It doesn't seem to bother them. They're a bit like it's how it goes, and we're the same really. Listen, if more people are going out and more people are joining the economy, whether it be daytime or nighttime, I'm a happy man with that.
Yeah. And so you work with your wife on this project?
I do, yeah.
What's it like working with your wife?
It's not too bad actually, because obviously she's a very well-known actress now, so she's acting a lot of the time, and she tries to get along whenever she can, and been brilliantly supportive from the start. I mean, a lot of it was me saying, look, this thing is taking off. Your social media is massive and very powerful. People are really engaged with you. Do you want to be part of it? And she was like, yeah, I'd love to be part of it. She was, I love the fact that it's like music and it's mostly female led. So she was, very supportive right from the beginning, and kind of became the face of it really, which was brilliant. So it's become sort of another thing that she's become well known for really. But yes, it's okay. It's very funny because she always goes on stage and dances. Her first song is Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody. So I play the thing behind her, and she explodes into life, and she does her 10,000 steps in about 4 songs, and I'm just behind the desk giving it a But yeah, it seems to work really well. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, and that's powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like people kind of go, how could you do something together and also be married? And,
yeah, I know. Yeah, no, it is interesting. She is funny. Sometimes she will say to me, "What's this now?" And I'm like, "Oh, just trust me, it's going to be massive." Trust me, it's daytime nightclubbing. And she was like, at first, okay. And then of course, once it took off, she was like, "How did you have a feeling about that one?" I was like, "I don't know." I said, "Something just in my bones, sort of." I said, some people go all their lives without having an idea like that, but I had one, and it's worked so far, but I've had 50 ideas at this point where that haven't worked. Trust me on that.
And so it's a great lesson there, isn't it? Yeah. Like, how did you know that this one was the one? Did you, or was it just chance of doing it and seeing?
Yeah, chance of doing it and seeing. I had a feeling, but nothing could have prepared me to what it's become. And then I'd be kidding you if I thought it would become. I think somebody called it the other day, the biggest daytime event in the country now. There's nothing, it's nothing even kind of close to it, which is astonishing really. And I never thought it would get that quickly. But I had an idea, and I seen people in the first few having a great time, and I thought all these people exist in all these towns and cities right across the UK. This is not just a London thing. This is not a northern thing or a Welsh thing or a Scottish thing. All these people, like I've been saying to you, grew up knowing this world, and it's right across the country. And we've been to Ireland as well, as I say, over there. Been up to Dublin a few times, been fantastic. We've taken them to more Irish cities in the autumn. We're going over to sort of more places in Scotland, up to Dundee and Aberdeen. So like those people that come to London, they exist wherever it is really. So it's not a particularly. So what we do we tailor the music sometimes, Sarah. So like if you're in Manchester, we play some more Manchester bands and things like that. So we do little things like in Wales, we always play like Tom Jones and things like that. Yeah. And people love it. In Scotland, we play like sort of Loch Lomond, and people go mad for it. So we do tailor it, but mostly the music is the same wherever we go.
That's powerful, really powerful, because most brands won't be able to duplicate that far reach, that many events. There'll be so many changes to that.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the success and the secret to your brand identity and to creating a clear brand identity?
I think the simplicity was massive right from the very start. Something I fought really hard for, and in all fairness, the boys have gone, God, you were really strong on that. And I was going, if you try to overcomplicate it, and we're going to bring in this, and we're going to try and do that, and we're going to try and I was like, just keep it really simple. Great music, right? People being allowed to dance and have a good time. Getting up on stage and dancing like the old Top of the Pops, and a screen behind that plays great clips of sort of the people's, the people will remember, whether it be adverts, clips of television, sports clips, clips from Coronation Street. We have people just watching that for a long time. But I was like, simplicity. I said, don't overcomplicate it. It's just good DJs, good music, great venue, and people will love it. They'll want to come along, and you know, I had to fight hard. That we'd have like people going, "What about like glitter cannons and masks and fancy dress?" And I was going, "That's something else. That's a bit more like bongo bingo, which they do brilliantly, by the way."
I mean, it's a massive show, isn't it?
Massive show.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, we ain't that. What our stars are the audience. I said, you've just got to remember they are the stars, not the DJs. Not it's them. It's them getting up and dancing. Them having the best day. It's them. They lead it. They make Day Fever. And that's what that's been the basic philosophy, is like the simplicity of it has always been key to me. Great music, don't overcomplicate it, let the audience enjoy themselves, let them have a dance on stage, and you know, they'll feel part of it more then.
That's powerful, that the people are contributing to the brand as well. I think that's a huge lesson in that. That collaboration.
I'd be lying if I thought, you know, it would have taken off the way it has and the way it's sort of reached so quickly. But it's been brilliant. But I think it's the simplicity has been really important. That it's a place that people recognise. You know, we have DJs, but the audience feels very much as if they're part of it as well. They are, you know, Day Fever for us. We get them on stage, they dance. So, you know, it becomes their day, really. I think that's been the big thing. For us, and you know, the DJs will just play. There's no kind of like extras. Other events do that brilliantly, but you're not going to see that at Day Fever. There's not going to be like, you know, glitter cannons and competitions and people, you know, shouting out bingo or whatever. It's just not going to happen. What you're going to get in Day Fever is like great music, a chance to dance, let your hair down, and just enjoy the moment.
That's powerful. Simplicity is key.
Yes, it is.
I'd say that's true for most brands.
It is. Kiss, and they say, is that Kiss? Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah,
that's the great line, isn't there? There's a lot of truth in that. I think I've kind of, one of the things I've worked out as you get older, as you do, is that the really clever ideas is simplicity, and to try to keep it as simple as possible. The tendency with human beings is we tend to overcomplicate things, and the moment that happens is you tend to lose, I think, a bit of what the joy of something is, and you see that in all aspects of life, I think.
We overthink and we overcomplicate.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We do. All the true greats, you know, art always tend to sort of be able to communicate something brilliantly, simplicity in a simple way. I did a documentary about a very famous football manager called Brian Clough, and all the players said the same thing about him. He just was able to convey his message really simply, and they were able to understand what he said and take that out onto the football pitch. And I really stuck with me him saying that.
And so if you were to just describe Day Fever in a simple sentence, how would you describe it?
The best day out you can have.
I love it.
Yeah, it is. Because you meet your mates, you have a great time, you listen to great music, you probably go for some nice food, and you're home in bed by 9 o'clock, and we all want to be in bed by 9 o'clock these days, don't we?
Love this. So you said a little bit about your wife's social media and yours, but how can people just keep in touch with where all the events are, where they're popping up? Is there a newsletter? Is there?
Yeah. So we've got there's an email direct you can join. So you can join Open Stage, they call it, where you can sort of we will email you information about events, and you'll get tickets straight away. And if you can just Google Day Fever, and that'll send you there. But there's also a Facebook, there's an Instagram page, there's a page on X where we'll tell you information there as well. But the best way, and the people like the most, is we've got this simple system where if you register us, we email you ticket information. We've even done stuff like we've emailed extra stuff, like stuff that Vicky's doing, stuff that we're doing around it. There's a single just been released, isn't there, with Reverend the Makers and Vicky, called Haircut. That's doing really well on the radio at the moment, and we've done stuff. We've even done a little online magazine for people as well about sort of music and things like that. So that's the main communication we've done. And if you just Google Day Fever, all that information will come up for you.
Amazing. Well, it's been incredible to have you on, Johnny.
It's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. We've had a bit of a day today, haven't we? Trying to get across London.
Fire alarms. Fire alarms.
But they won't know any of this, because that's show business.
Thank you so much.
Very welcome.
I'm going to pop down to one of your events. That's going to be my promise to you.
You'll be very welcome. I'll put you on the I'll give you a VIP ticket.
Oh, look at that. Thanks, Johnny.
You're welcome.
Amazing.